Why have you come from New York City to our small community theater, Sandy Actors Theater, as musical director for Nunsense?
The reason I came here from New York City to Sandy, Oregon, is one reason: Anita Sorrell. Anita and I met in 1994, and we have done shows all over the place. Of course, we've done numerous shows in Manhattan. We've done them in East Hampton, Long Island. And then she even yanked me across the world to Nairobi, Kenya to do Anything Goes in 2007. And then so when she called for this one, I said, get my flight, I'm there. And so here I am, and it's been glorious. And also, you know, people ask me that, like, Mark, you do Broadway, but then I do teach children, I teach seniors. And I go, you know what? We, all of us in New York, about 90% to 95% of us working Broadway, off-Broadway, in the business, we all come from somewhere else. We're not native New Yorkers. And so I think some people forget that when they get there and things go. It's like, you learned your craft and built who you are somewhere else, and then came there and refined it even further. So I've never forgotten that. I'm originally from Oklahoma, and so this is very important to me. Oklahoma, Oregon, you know, it's middle America, and that's where I come from.
What is near and dear to your heart in the past, in the theater, and why?
I just mentioned it. In Oklahoma City, in the 80s, I had a children's musical theater company. And in 6 years, before I came to New York, I produced 60 shows, not performances, shows. And my kids at York Productions were great. And they taught me a lot, because I was in my 20s learning how to be a producer, director, composer, lyricist, costume designer, set designer, lighting designer, all of this stuff. And so I'm always teaching children, as I still do in New York City at Shuffles Tap Studio. I'm their main arranger of like 7 live pianists who play every class. And then I also teach senior citizens in a musical theater class once a week, sometimes twice a week in New York City. I also teach what we call PCSA classes, which are for people with, you know, dementia and cognitive loss and whatever. And I do that. I land Monday morning in Manhattan, and on Tuesday, I'm teaching a PCSA class. And then I teach my normal senior class on Wednesday. So it's all the same to me. Children, seniors, Broadway, it's just all the same.
That's wonderful. Can you tell me, please, can you tell us about your earliest musical past growing up?
Yeah, I'm a Baptist preacher's kid. Fundamental, independent, right-wing Baptist preacher's kid. Baby of 5 kids. And so I started taking piano lessons when I was 9. I've only had 2.5 years of piano, but fortunate for me, we were Baptist, which means we never leave the church. We have a Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night service. And at age 10, once I learned how to play chords and octaves and everything, because I couldn't get me off the piano practicing, I started learning how to play the organ in our church. And then when I was 12, we moved to Cincinnati for 3 years. And when we moved there, I became the church pianist, even though we had these adult pianists who would, you know, swap off every service. The moment I started playing the piano, they said, oh, he's the new church pianist. We're going to sub for him. And so I had 3 gigs a week without fail, plus weddings, funerals, vacation Bible school, revivals, you know, everything. It was quite spectacular as a young musician, because I never had to worry about getting work or a chance to use my talents. I used them every week of my life. And that really developed me And the other thing I will say is, my dad didn't want uptight church music. And he didn't want the more honky-tonk sounding. So I said, Dad, what would you like? He goes, I'm thinking more Lawrence Welk of the hymns, which means orchestrated. And that's how my ear really heard it. Because my mom, I always say, she had two things in life she wanted to be: a minister's wife and a showgirl in musicals at the same time. So musical theater was part of our house. I heard, anything musical theater, Carol Burnett show and all that stuff. So that's how I could do Broadway, just swap over very easily. So my beginnings is very important to my current existence and my life.
Thank you very, very much for sharing.
You bet, Joan. Thank you.